A lot of people will say, I see this happen all the time in mortgage. So you watch mortgage people do this. Interest rates are at 3.5%.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, interest rates are now 3.75%. And everybody's like, whoop-de-doo. So now I've got 3 posts per month of me talking experty stuff.
First of all, is experty stuff, is that an official term? Is that a Russ? Is that a Russism?
There's a list of Russisms.
I like. Hey, what's up everyone? Buddy Buck here, and I am very excited to be able to introduce this gentleman here today. He is my friend. He is one of the smartest businessmen that I know. He is the Senior Regional Director of Growth for eXp Realty for the entire United States. He's a speaker, he's a trainer, he's a coach, he is a business builder, but here's my favorite part of all of it. He helps you become the best version of yourself, and he has a hell of a lot of fun doing it. So with that, Mr. Russ Laggan.
Welcome, thank you for the intro, of course. So today we're gonna just let it rip right on like recipe number 1, which is how and why to do a real estate market update. Well, let me ask you, buddy, how's it working for you?
You shared this concept with me a couple of months ago, and I just followed it literally to a T, put my own little flavor on it, and it's absolutely working for sure.
So like the how and why of doing a real estate market update, the important part is like you have to understand the real basics of where business comes from. And once you understand this, it starts to make sense why and how people come to you to do real estate, right? So when you're out and about as a human being, people will know you, like you, and trust you. You have personal credibility with people because they know you, right? You're doing stuff, your kids do stuff, you go to church with them, you bowl with them, whatever that is, you have personal credibility. Well, then Buddy gets a real estate license, and he's like, I don't understand why everybody doesn't do real estate deals with me. And the reason is, Buddy, is because you have personal credibility, but you haven't built professional credibility. So what happens is a lot of real estate agents do a whole bunch of look at me stuff. Look at me, I'm a realtor. And that doesn't really help them with professional credibility. It actually harms their personal credibility and professional credibility. So what happens is you alienate all your friends. So like, thanks, I'm a realtor. And don't come near me, man. He's going to try to sell me something. The whole crux of doing the market update is for people to start to see on a monthly basis, start to see you doing things that make you look and sound like an expert to them. And then the goal is to get you to be their real estate expert. Because they might know you, like you, and trust you as a person, but they still don't know you as a realtor. And that's why this is super key, because it helps people see you saying expert stuff. And I want you to do it on video.
Well, I mean, look, getting on video is super uncomfortable for most people. I mean, even myself included. And I've, had an opportunity to speak in front of giant rooms, thousands of people, and speaking on camera to audience that you can't see is very different. I'll tell you that for sure.
It is a completely different game, but it's a skill you learn just like anything else. I don't know anybody that likes the way they look on video, and I don't know anybody that likes the way they sound when they're recorded. So I jokingly tell people, I said, for me, I look like an overdressed turtle and I sound like a Muppet. So just get over it. Right? You just gotta get over it and just keep doing it. Nobody starts a master, so the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's just like what we're doing here. So do you want to get into details on what to do in a real estate market update?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So the first thing, buddy, you might have heard this, somebody saying this, real estate is becoming more hyper-local. Have you heard that?
I've heard that term over and over, yes.
It's funny, my wife was just saying she's got a friend of hers named Debbie in Phoenix, and she has a real estate person that she's friends with, but she wants to get a realtor that is a specialist in this specific older neighborhood because she knows that somebody that is a local in that hyper-local specific older neighborhood is going to know some things her person probably doesn't, right? I mean, this is live action going on this week. So hyper-local is super important to be able to do something in your hyper-local market. Now, some of you might say, well, gee, Russ, I don't want to sell houses in my market. Fine. Find a hyper-local market that you can become the expert of, and you're going to want to do a hyper-local real estate market update. So for me, let's say my local market here, don't really want to do houses in my neighborhood necessarily. Not that it's bad, it's a nice neighborhood and all, but I really like Plymouth, which is right down the street from my house. Okay, so I would say if you say, Russ, go out and start doing this again, I would be right at like Plymouth. I would do Plymouth, like hyper-local, Plymouth, Canton, Livonia, Northville area. That's what I'm going to be a hyper-local specialist with. And I'm going to tell them what's going on in that market, okay? So I want to do a hyper-local real estate market update. And I'm going to do that on video. Here's the reason why I'm going to do it on video. People will say, well, Russ, I post stats on the market all the time. Yeah, but that's not you saying it out loud, which then attaches you to the expert information. They start going, Russ is the expert, not Russ posted expert info. I want them to connect me with the expert stuff, so I say it out loud. And by the way, this part of this market update is super important, is we're not going to just tell them something. We're going to tell them a stat or tell them a number, or tell them a metric, and then tell them what it means. A lot of people will say, I see this happen all the time in mortgage. So you watch mortgage people do this. Interest rates are at 3.5%.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, interest rates are now 3.75%. And everybody's like, whoop-de-doo, right? But when you say, by the way, do you realize on a $350,000 house, a half a percent of interest rate going up will cost you about $40 a month times 360 payments, which is $20,000 you just lost waiting. Now does it make sense? Now does it impact you? Sure. So here's what's going on in your local market, and here's what that means. So like in Livonia, the city I live in right now, did some research on my in-laws' house. They sold their house. It's a 0.7. Look at this. 0.7, not even 1% supply of homes in their market. And what that means is that if we price this house anywhere as close to what it should be, that house will go under contract immediately. Guess what? It went under contract immediately. By the way, then that contract's 3 days before closing, and we had it back under contract the end of the same day. With that being said, that's what happens in a 0.7 month supply of homes. With that, you've got to start doing your hyper local so you get real specific. So for you, you're doing yours in what, Duval?
Yeah, Duval. It's population 8,420-ish, you know what I mean? And just on that point right there, Russ, because again, I've been applying what you taught me this months ago. Last month, and I just did my last episode of Duval TV. I recorded that yesterday for June episode. We were at 0.95 months of inventory last month. This month, 2.47. Huge jump in inventory. It's been really cool to see, and there's a whole story behind that I shared yesterday too.
Yeah, so a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, the sky's falling. It's like, no, we need the supply. Please, God, put some houses on the market. If you put houses on the market, buyers are going to be like, a house. They got pent up demand and they're jumping on the house, okay? So you got your hyper local for Duval, and then you want to do something for the area too. So your area is going to be what? Seattle-ish area?
Yep, Seattle, Woodinville, Bellevue, Kirkland, all those major cities from Seattle east.
Yeah, there you go. So the east side, right? So here's the thing. We know people move from outside of Duval into Duval, and they move from in Duval out of Duval. So I want them to say, oh, Russ knows Duval really well. And by the way, if I'm moving into there, he also knows where my area is, so he can help me sell my house so I can move into there, or he can help me sell my house in Duval, and he can help me buy a house outside of Duval.
Right, you're not putting yourself so much in just a little tiny box. Even though that could be a great box, it's nice to have a little flexibility, yeah.
You have an unreasonable amount of percentage of home sales for that market to be successful. Like, I want to set myself up where I get a small percentage and it's way easier to win, right? All the way across the board. Hence the local and the area. It's going to give me better flow and space, okay? Now you might say, okay, well, great. Now what do I do with that? Okay, number one, you're going to be doing video, okay? And the video, you're going to post that video on your social media platform of choice. So some people will say, well, I'm going to do it on TikTok, and I'm going to do it on this, and I'm going to do it on this, and do it on this. I will tell you, I've interviewed 5 real high-level social media people recently. Gogo Bethke, Will Grimes, Levi Lassick. I've interviewed Mike Sherrard. These guys are internet nuts and social media nuts building their businesses. And almost all of them will say this: I would rather you go 100% all in on one social than to go 20% in on 4. And then if you've got some time, then you start doing a second one. So I'm going to post a video once a month, hyper local, talking about what's going on in the market there. And then I'm going to drop that out on my social, but I'm going to do it 2 times. So I'll do it today, and then 3 days from now, I'll say, just in case you missed it, and I will retread the same video. So now I get twice the usage out of the same video. And let's be clear, I'm going to post one at 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, and then I'll post another one on Sunday morning. Is it a different crowd seeing Sunday morning than seeing it on Friday night or Tuesday night or Wednesday night? Yeah, so you want to vary the times you pop that out, and you just spread it out a couple of days apart, and then you get more hits on. The ultimate goal is more eyeballs. And if somebody sees it twice, they'll be like, oh yeah, I already saw that. And they'll just keep on driving by, no big deal, right? But I want them to see you talking experty stuff twice on social. And you can also do your area one. You're gonna need all that info anyway while you're doing the hyper local. You've already got the metrics and the info, so I can do an area one at the same time. So I will drop my area one out one time, right? So now I've got 3 posts per month of me talking experty stuff.
First of all, is experty stuff, is that an official term? Is that a Russ? Is that a Russism?
There's a list of Russisms.
Because I really do. I do love experty stuff, and I love the term. So I just want to make sure you're getting proper credit for this.
Yeah, you got to see your pie hole saying experty stuff. So here's the thing. So say, well, Russ, where do I put the video? Well, I'll just put it on Facebook, right? I was like, no, I actually want you to upload it to YouTube. Somebody's like, well, how do I do that? Well, you go on YouTube and you type in how to set up a YouTube channel and it'll teach you. Here's the reason I want to get to YouTube channel. When I pop the social, they jump on it and then it goes to your YouTube channel. They can subscribe to your YouTube channel if they want more. And it gives you one more avenue for them to make connection. So the stuff you post on social is the links from YouTube, which drives them back and can get you connections and get you some stickiness. We want them to stick. And then the next thing I'm going to do, because you've put it on YouTube, you can just email the link to everybody. Does everybody use every social media outlet? No. Do people miss it when you post it on social? Yeah. So is it more likely that people are going to catch it if you put it in email format? Yes. And then that does redirect them back to YouTube, which again, gets the stickiness. And then when you've got recipe 2 and 3, you got more YouTube stuff there, which makes them stick, okay? So email's super important. A good open rate on email these days is around 10%. Here's the last step in doing a good real estate market update. Every other month or so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to print something out. That's kind of a printed version, which you can design on Canva, or you can have send it over to somebody at Fiverr and they'll do a nice little pretty thing for you that you can send out. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually mail that. I'd say mail it every other month, 6 times per year. You don't really need to do it every month, but here's the fun part that I know about mail. Buddy, if I send you something in the mail, you going to open it?
100% of the time.
You're going to see it, right?
Yeah.
Even if you see it, don't open it and throw it in the garbage. There's still going to be like, oh, here's Buddy Buck's stupid thing again, chunk, and they chunk it in the garbage, right? Because they don't need you until they need you. Like, I hope I never need a heart surgeon. But when I do, I'm going to be looking for, right? So you want to be on top of mind. So when somebody says real estate, they're like, that Buddy sends me a stupid thing every other month. I never look at it. But now that I'm thinking about selling my house, I'm going to look at it.
Well, and especially, Russ, if it's handwritten, I would imagine it's even higher,
You've got a lot of things that have come to you in the mail that were handwritten. And what happens is when they see handwritten, it ties them to something they probably already love. So it's a 3-pronged approach that you get it. So you're going to pop it on social, you got to throw it in an email. It's on the YouTube channel, which we're going to do in recipe 2 and 3, rabbit hole that, so you can get them stuck in there. And then you're going to want to mail that to them once every other month at minimum. So that's the how and why to do a real estate market update. Build credibility, build connection, get them to see you as the expert, and then you're giving them valuable information that's going to pop up in other conversations they're going to have, and potentially even get referrals from them too, even if they're not going to sell something. So the key is you just got to do it. Pick one part of it, start doing it, and then add the next part, add the next part, add the next part. So here's the thing, buddy. You have people reaching out to you now because of doing this, right?
Absolutely, yep.
So stop chasing business, start attracting business by doing things that make people want to come to you.
What I took from all of this, Russ, and there's so many great nuggets in this, but really the biggest thing is to stop being the look at me realtor. I think we just learned it all a certain way. I mean, I got licensed over 20 years ago originally, and it's just, like there was just basic trainings that were going out from all the big brokerages. It was like, your top 100, you do this, you write a letter, a welcome letter, and it was all very much the same across the board. But as things have obviously changed in the last 20 years, like you have to adapt at some level, in my opinion. It's like you don't have to be all in, crazy techie and all this stuff in your 50s, 60s, and even 70s, because there are realtors that are in their 70s. And it's just like, you don't have to swing the pendulum super far, but you need to be comfortable. Like you need to adjust and adapt slightly. Even if you're a killer agent, like crushing it, it's only going to be best for your clients, in my opinion, too, to be at least flexible enough to learn some of the new skills in 2023.
Yeah, and really the reality is for most people, even the highly experienced real estate agents, I don't see a whole lot of them doing this. And this is a really great way to stay in touch with people long term. So think about it for like in our market here right now. So we're sitting here in 2023 right now. And if you had bought a house in the last 4, 5, 6 years, do you have a lot of equity in your house?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Like like your people should be like, you helped me make the best decision of my life. My house went up $100,000 in the last 5 years in this market. That was a phenomenal decision to buy that house, and we helped buy the right one because that house went up $100,000.
I was watching another video with Gary Vee, and they were talking about this idea of like, well, what can I do on video that's super different than everybody else? And he's like, why do you don't need to be different than everyone else. It's your face is different. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, R&D, rip off and duplicate, right? That is very, very common. By the way, I used to send all my market update to every realtor in every market that I was in. And I'd send it to 543 realtors that were on my list in Tampa. And the reason being is they were using my market update to send to their clients sometimes. Or they're just like, hey, I took your info and I just redid it in my own voice. Perfect. Now I'm a resource for other people, real estate agents or whatever. I don't care how the info gets out there. My job is to give. What they do with it, that's fine. If somebody else can find value in it, great. You add enough value to enough people, and next thing you know, they put you in charge of stuff.
To that point exactly, it's like I couldn't agree more on the collaboration mindset. You know, we just had another event here locally, and somebody was, I don't know, just basically the way the conversation was going was more from a scarcity mindset, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm all about abundance. We can all eat. You know what I mean? There's plenty of homes. There's plenty of value to be passed around and shared. And honestly, that was so attractive to me. I didn't join EXP because of this one thing I'm about to say, but I can tell you, once I got inside of EXP and I started understanding, you know, it's one brokerage for the entire, 20 plus countries we're in. Everyone was collaborating and like sharing their best secrets, their best listing presentation. It's like, I have never in my career in over 20 years seen so many top level agents, men, women, whoever, sharing their best secrets, so to speak, with a brand new person. And I'm like, how cool is this abundance mentality and just to be around like-minded people like this, Russ, in such a cool company. So this is part of the reason I was so excited to do this interview with you today, is because I want to teach other agents at other brokerage. I'm not scared of you. I don't care about that. Like, I want to help you be better too, because I look at us as an industry. We need to be better, not like EXP or, whatever other brokerage you want to throw in there. I think as an industry, if we can all raise each other up and stick together, because when it comes down to it, like, we're the ones dealing with each other. Like, we're representing clients, but it's so important that we all get along, for lack of a better term, right?
Every single person I know wants to close more houses and have more smooth transactions. Rising tide floats all ships. Make the whole world a better place, and the whole world becomes a better place.
All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Russ, how and why to do a smart, brilliant real estate update every month. I thank you so much for the time, so much for the content. The value add was incredible today. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate you being on.
Hey, you're quite welcome. This is something I'm very passionate about. Do it every month for the next 12 months, and you will be surprised at how your business changes. That's all it takes.
Yep. I was definitely surprised. We'll see you on the next one. Buddy Buck. Peace.